All right, what's up, everybody? It's Christopher Leon Johnson here. So, unfortunately, I can't officially record this event. I got spoke by Elizabeth Adams, reputational cheap lobbyists, their main lobbyists, that I can't record this event because of kids. But you know how I do, guys. You know how I do. It's gonna get recorded, but I can't. You might have to pick up the audio. I might have to pick up the audio, but the audio, we might have to get the audio. But the truth is, I'm gonna get the audio, and that's it. So, take care. Let's go. You can't record because of kids, guys. This is starting soon. So this is Sammy Cohen, and this is wow. So yeah, so there's a lot of people. I can't record it. They say not to record, so I'm very respectful of Elizabeth not to record. It's just. So heads up. I gotta cut this off and in a few. They actually not recording that. They actually not recording, guys. So heads up.
What's happening?
Can you all hear me? Awesome. Thank you all so much for being here on time. I think the weather has slowed a few folks down. So we're going to give it a few more minutes before we get started. So thank you all so much, and just give us a moment or two, and then we will get
Yeah, they're gonna start. They're gonna start. I can't be.
very rainy day.
Oh, they're coming. They're coming, guys. The hip hoppers are coming. It's a couple of him. I think he's from Guns Down, Knuckle Up. Yeah. All right. So Guns Down, Knuckle Up is here. So basically, what they do is instead of you shooting each other, guys, instead of you shooting each other, they want you to be fighting. Like, use your fists. I believe in that type of mentality, guys. I really do. I believe that's been my mentality too, guys.
Yeah, I'll second that.
So. We have John Cho's here. John Cho. What's up, John? John Cho. What's up, man? So, American City Council. He sits on the board for CACF, by the way. Sits on the board for CACF. So, yeah.
Hey, John. Thanks so much for
My stuff down there.
What's up, man? They're good. So. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, everyone's here now. Great.
Hello, can you hear me? Awesome. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. It's a very wet afternoon. Really appreciate you making the trek in the rain. We're about to get started, but really quick, we would like to get a quick picture. If folks would like to all get together in the front, so we can take a quick pic with everyone, because I know a few folks need to leave early. Yeah, so just come on up to the front, get into the pic.
行的话，他们先拍照。
Yeah, of course.
Turn the lights on, please. House lights up.
All right, everybody, squeeze in. We gotta get this a little tighter.
Yeah.
Tenga aquí, por favor. Tenga aquí. There you go. Here, take your time.
So a little more on this side. Get a little closer.
Smile.
All right. 1, 2, 3, cheese.
Wait.
Awesome.
Got it.
My mustache straight?
Looks great.
Whose phone is this? Whose phone? Whose phone? No problemo.
Good for you, my friend. Good for you.
Yeah. Perpetual.
It's a choice. We got and a bunch of other things.
Do it again.
Yeah, it was a really nice event. So I hope it's good. You had good
I
stuff.
actually got there, but it was really on the late side. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Need to use that seat.
All right. That's my third seat. All right. Cool.
I'll take this one.
All right, great. If our panelists could pop up on stage and take a seat, we will get started.
By the way, it's a community-based nonprofit called Guns Down, Knuckle Up. They recorded their event, so I'm going to do mine. I'm fighting these people.
So we should get started. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Cho. I am Executive Director of Greater Flushing Chamber of Commerce and also on the board of Transportation Alternatives. I've been asked to moderate today's forum. This town hall, this very important town hall, was organized by Families for Safe Streets. As well as a number of other organizations, and I'm gonna list them if I can find them. Sorry. My eyesight is getting so bad as I get older. We have co-sponsors, the Good Shepherd Services, Eastern Queens Greenway, Local 372, Fresh Meadows Tenants Association, CID-NY, Vision Zero Youth Council, Power 105.1, Elmhurst Hospital, FIA Foundation, the New York Coalition for Transportation Safety, .05 Saves Lives Coalition, the Chinese American Planning Council, Hip Hop Against Gun and Gang Violence, Kids and Car Safety, Drive Rehab, the Greater Flushing Chamber of Commerce, the Frat City Tenants Association, and Niqua B Faith Foundation. We also have a great lineup of panelists here. Starting with Amy Tan, Charles Fisher, Ben Turner, Tom Lizal, Kevin McCarthy from NYPD. But before we get to our panel, I want to ask our elected official here, State Senator John Liu, to come up and give us some hope during these very dark times.
Joe. It actually is a bit dark in here, but nonetheless, I'm happy to see everybody out here. I know it's not a great day to be outside, but I'm happy that we had actually a pretty good turnout for this kind of town hall. And I want to thank all the co-sponsors that John Cho already just enumerated. The issue here is one of not quality of life, but of life and death. And that is unfortunately the case with so many families, including Amy's family, and countless other families here in Queens and throughout the city of New York, where too many lives, including those of young children, have been taken because our laws are not strict enough to protect those lives. And there are a number of bills that are going to be talked about, whether it be Sammy's law or the .05 law, which reduces the definition of DWI from a .08 blood alcohol content threshold to down to a .05, and additional measures to install life-saving traffic calming devices around our streets especially near the schools. And those not only include traffic control devices, but also deterrence against speeding and in running through red lights. This is something that we need, and something that we need more of. In the state legislature, with my partners like Senator Andrew Bernardis and many others, we advocate for more of these devices, not to punish and fine people, but to understand, to help people realize that it is very important to observe speed limits and to observe traffic signals. It's as simple as that. You don't speed, you won't get a speeding ticket. You don't run a red light, you won't get a red light ticket. It's as simple as that. Follow the law. And why are we doing that? It's to protect the public. It's to protect our young children. And ultimately, it helps the drivers themselves. I'm a driver, I drive a car. Although I also like a lot more than I drive. But still, it is something that we have to be mindful of constantly. We have, for 100 years, in a car-centric culture. And this last decade or so, I think, has seen the city of New York realize that there's a lot more to transportation than cars and engine-driven devices. That there are many, many alternative modes of transportation. So we want to make sure that our laws now match the thinking, and the thinking in the public also matches the law. So I thank you very much for convening this panel. I'm not leaving right away, but I do have to get to another meeting at 3 o'clock. But thank you very much for joining us, and look forward to the discussion. Thanks very much.
Yeah, let's give another round of thanks to Senator Liu for his leadership on the state level and throughout New York on these issues, these very important issues. So another round of applause, please. We have a couple of questions prepared for our panelists, but if you have a question, please feel free to interrupt and let us know if you have questions. I'm going to start with Amy. Can you tell me about Families for Safe Streets, the organization that you're representing, and maybe include some personal history about why you joined?
Okay, thanks, John. Yes, my name is Amy. Families for Safe Street is basically a group we don't want to be a part of because it means you have lost a loved one in traffic violence, or you yourself have been seriously injured in a crash. And in our case, our daughter, Allison Hope Lau, was killed in a crash. I showed a picture of her. Put a picture to her name. So about 10 years ago, Allie was walking home from the supermarket with her grandmother hand in hand with the light in the crosswalk when a distracted, aggressive driver made a left turn and hit them both. Allie died from her injuries later that day. So ever since then, we've been involved in street safety, and we have been connected with other families who've been affected by traffic violence, and then me and HP, my husband, have been co-founders of Families for Safe Streets. Families for Safe Streets, our mission is twofold. It's advocacy and also a lot of support services. I just wanted to mention our support services, because unfortunately 1 in 5 people know someone who's been hit by a car. Okay, so we have a peer mentoring program, and that is where we would connect you with someone similar in your situation. So if you unfortunately lost a parent or a sibling or a child, we would pair you with someone with a similar situation. There's also a monthly cross-country virtual support group connecting people across 20 chapters across the nation. There's an in-person New York City support gathering in downtown on 11th Street every month. There's on our website, and there's a lot of resources on the table outside. Resource like your rights, how to navigate the police, the legal system, insurance. There's also logistical assistance, and there's also a monthly Spanish only speaking group. So I wanted to make sure we're informing about that.
Great, thank you so much, Amy. We're also joined by Charles Fisher, who's one of the organizers of this important town hall. Can you tell us a little bit about your organization, HHYSC? I'm not sure what that stands for.
HHSYC, Hip Hop Southern Youth Council. So I'm the founder since 2001. So I've been doing this here for like 46 years. Started in 1978. Transitioned in 2001 into the Hip Hop Southern Youth Council because we saw a dominant force in music culture, which is hip hop, and we saw how it was impacting our young people. And so we can't be enjoying. So, like, hip hop is the #1 genre of music right now in America, hip hop and R&B. And so we felt that it was important, being that young people are listening to the music, that we try to take the positive aspects of hip hop and use it to influence our young people socially, politically, economically. Also try to reach out to the artists and the culture that we felt had compromised the culture, because when hip hop originally started, it was very positive. It was about music and dance and positive messages, and Run DMC then became gangster rap and trap rap, now drill rap. And so somebody hijacked the culture, and we kind of felt that we had to be the stewards and to bring it back. So that's what we've been doing in partnership with Power 105.1, the People Sharp, David John Sharp Tank, several other celebrities that we've gotten them to understand what we're trying to do. And they have kids now that they don't want to be compromised by that music. And so we're on a crusade because gun violence right now is the #1 cause of death in children and teens. Car crashes is #2. So we see a twin crisis here. And it's important now that we step up to the plate even more to try to put this fire out. We didn't step up to the plate with the opioid crisis. We missed that one, which is still going on right now. And mental health, we missed that. But we got to do something about car crashes. We got to do something about gun violence. And I believe that hip hop can be a dominant force to try to make that happen. And in summary, when you're talking about ending gun violence, you got to talk about gang violence. And that's kind of like what I'm going to talk about a little bit more today once we go through it, because the gangs can't do anything without the guns. And there's a lot of talk about guns, and no one talks about the gangs. And that's the problem. If we don't talk about the gangs, we're never going to solve the gun problem, because there's not enough political will right now to solve the gun problem in America, all the way from the federal level. It's not going to happen. If we're going to change the gun problem, it's going to start in the school system, like right here with our elementary school kids. From K through 5, that's where it's going to start with them. And so that's our journey right now. To come into the elementary schools, the junior high schools, a little late by the time you get to junior high school, you're already, but we can't roll that back. But if hip-hop, pop culture in America can be a force, and social media, definitely. Social media, if we can grab those entities, all right, and use that as an influence, then I think we can roll back the culture, help our young people, and maybe put an end to gun and gang violence and all the other things that's going on. So, turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Charles. And I think you made a really important point. 63 young people are killed every year in New York from gun and traffic violence. So it's a serious issue, and that's one of the reasons why we're here today. So thank you. We're also joined by Tom Luzu, who is a former federal, director at the US DOT. Can you give us a national perspective on these issues and your role at the US DOT?
Thank you, John. Well, I'm retired now, and when I retired from National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, I joined with a colleague from the NTSB to found the 05 Saves Lives Coalition. As was mentioned earlier by the Senator, it's all about lowering the BAC limit for drunk driving across America to 05. I want to thank Senator Lewis, by the way, who introduced the bill in the Senate when I visited him up in Albany. And he quickly, within days, put that bill out there. It's in committee. I'll talk a little bit more about details about DWI later in 05, but right now I'll give you a little rundown what's happening in the nation. We just heard, traffic crashes are the big dog in emergency room admissions across America. When you look at causes of death that the CDC puts out every year, traffic crashes are a leading cause of death for 3-year-olds up to age 34. And so it's important that we look at it. It's a public health issue. It's a healthcare burden economically. And it's not about the numbers. We know from Families for Safe Streets, it's about people, it's about communities, it's about families. The big common thread in all of this, and you'll hear a little bit later, is alcohol. When you look at gun violence and you look at traffic crashes, that number post-pandemic has gone through the roof. And we've seen from CDC that the numbers of excessive alcohol deaths in America has increased 29% post-pandemic as compared to the pre-pandemic. And the driver in all of this are young men driving recklessly on the road, speeding, and getting in crashes, causing these numbers to go up. 43,000 people died on traffic crashes. When we look at that number, it's flat for the last 3 years. That's up from 32,000 only 10 years ago. So we're not going in the right direction. It's very hard to look at this data and say that we're doing well. The whole idea of excessive speed and alcohol in crashes, along with the distraction that was mentioned earlier as well. We know when we look at data from DOT, it says 3% of crashes are distraction. From naturalistic studies where we put video cameras in cars, that number goes up. So we know that the data itself is probably very low. It's probably as high as 30% distraction from cell phones, from using other handheld devices, from other distractions in the vehicles. And that's what this national bipartisan bill is taking a look at. It's looking at advanced driver assist technologies, like auto braking, like assistance on New York City fleets right now, on some commercial fleets for auto braking as well. So 31%, 33% alcohol related, another 30% speed related, and they overlap. Speeders are more likely to be drunk, they're more likely to be unbuckled. They're also more likely, when we look later at how this affects young people, it has a big impact on the numbers that we look at young children as well. Even though we have laws that say you shouldn't be driving drunk with children in the car, it doesn't seem to be working, and we'll see that later. I don't want to get into too much of that right now, but when we talk about that. What we learned from the pandemic is that this safety culture is fragile. New York State led the nation in traffic safety back in the 80s and 90s. They passed Stop DWI legislation. They had the lowest alcohol-related fatal rates in the nation. We made great gains, seatbelt laws. We lowered the BAC from 1.0 to 0.8. And so right up to about 2000, the nation was really keeping pace with many of the industrialized nations in Europe as well. No longer the case. Right now, we're near last place when you look at industrialized nations. We just don't do as good a job about it. But the new infrastructure bill, the bipartisan bill, is demanding that with a safe system approach, that we start to look at roads, vehicles, people, and communities. What you have to say is so important. The new Secretary of Transportation is asking for your input on all of this. And it's important that you raise your voices to make DOT hear it as well. We'll talk a little bit more, when we get into it, but the numbers are not right. 31% I said alcohol, New York State right now, 34%. From being a leader, we've slid back a little bit in that direction. Enforcement is down. Many police departments across America were told during the pandemic not to make these stops for fear of spreading COVID. Face-to-face, interactions with the use of PBT devices, preliminary breath test devices, and drug recognition expert, which is all face-to-face. We're told to kind of tamp it back unless it was an egregious violation. New York was making 45,000 DWI arrests pre-pandemic, the state. Post-pandemic, that number dropped to 28,000. You can see that enforcement was vital. High visibility enforcement supported by a media campaign got us all those gains. It's important now to double up our efforts. We're starting to turn it around. 2022-23 numbers are looking better than they did just after the pandemic, 20 and 21. So it's important that we keep at it. It's important that you keep your voices loud and heard about laws like lowering the BAC limit, about speed limits in New York City. These are the two big drivers. And if we could get those two laws in New York State, we're gonna have a big impact on this.
Great. Bringing it back to more local concerns, we're joined by Ben Turner from TA Transition Alternatives, who's also a member of Team 11, as well as Captain Mo Sang, who's the commanding officer of the 107th Police Precinct. Can you both address some of the reasons why we have such high traffic and gun violence in this area? We're in the 25th Assembly District. It has the 7th largest, highest rate of traffic fatalities in the entire city.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Captain Mosan. I'm the CEO of 107 Command. So, regarding the, as I said, the traffic thing, I think we are doing my officer doing their job the best they can. My participation for the moving summons for all my counts in 107 is like 90%. So almost like 9 out of 10 counts they're all doing the count style will be over and issuing summons. And for me, I think we have done our part, just like John said. I mean, after the pandemic has slowed down a lot of our activity, of course. But last year and this year, and also moving forward, we'll definitely do better regarding enforcement. The only concern is, I need everyone to get involved. Like, we just can't just issue the motorists for the failure. The pedestrian, the bicyclists, they all have to contribute and try to keep this area safe. Like last time, the last fatality we have, pedestrian fatality on Main Street, almost near the Georgetown High School, it's pedestrian fault. Like she's crossing the street, between the street without watching the cars coming. And that's why I'm saying, like, everybody has to contribute and everybody has to make sure that they're doing the following law and make sure the traffic is safe. Regarding violence, this area, this 28-day period, actually my crimes that I have is actually went down. All the majors, burglary, robbery, felony assault, DOA, everything's down. I mean, my counts were there. Whenever we have like a spike on crimes, I identify the zone. So normally it's like in one area. Last Wednesday we had a burglary spike in Sector 4, which is from 164th Street all the way to the Union Turnpike. And I draw this zone. The officers say there that this way you'll be more visible. When we have more cops visible in the area that drive down the crimes. And the 20 days, as I said, all the crime is down. And also, I need to help the community. Whenever they see something, say something. So make sure you call 911 when you see someone suspicious, whatever. Also, if you have like a vehicle, whatever, definitely sell something, like anti-theft device, like alarms or Apple tag, whatever. Also the houses. A lot of times we went to a burglary house. A lot of times all this they have no alarm or no video. Even they have video, they say it's not working. They never meant to be working cameras around. So if you can help us out, install those cameras and install the edit depth for you guys. We can all do better by doing that and make sure this area is safer.
Thank you. And Ben?
Yes, my name is Ben Turner, and I'm a member of Transportation Alternatives, and I'm also an active member of Community Board 11. Just to be clear, I'm not speaking on behalf of Community Board 11. And to answer your question, John, about why I think traffic crashes and violence is up in this area, it's really up citywide the past few years, and we had seen many years of gains under the Vision Zero program. A number of things I think have caused things to deteriorate since then. First of all, there's simply too many cars on the road. I think it's hard to get away from that. More people are driving since the pandemic. Our road networks are not designed to accommodate this many cars, and it's really a descending spiral. You have more people driving, getting frustrated that they can't find parking for their vehicles. It worsens traffic congestion, and the whole situation is just deteriorating. Simply driving from my neighborhood in Bayside to downtown Flushing and finding parking takes over half an hour, and it's barely 2 miles. It's nuts. And I know people love their cars, and I think, especially in the United States, Americans really identify with their vehicles. It's almost like a part of their identity. But we have to look at the costs that are associated with it. Not just the traffic deaths, but the time we spend sitting in traffic, trying to get where we're going. The time that the amount of money it costs maintaining a vehicle. Health costs associated with breathing in air pollution and everything else that's associated with it. And it's not efficient. Vehicles are a really inefficient way of transporting people in an urban setting. Okay, look at how many vehicles it takes to totally clog a city block in New York. It's maybe, 50? It's the same number of people who would fit on a city bus. Same number of, imagine 50 people